I would leave as much space as you can at the bottom. It really helps to open up our space. I've begun with pencil, and this is how this drawing should always begin, with your eye level, your vanishing point right on the paper, and your parameters. I'm going to start at the bottom here of my light fixture. And I have to be a little farther away from this than I would like to be, so it's not going to be very accurate, but I'm hoping that you'll get an idea anyway of what it is you need to do. So right now I need to find the center of this, because remember, it's above eye level, so I'm going to see the underside of my light, and I can't tell that from my reference picture, not at all. This is a silhouette, it's an elevation almost of my light fixture. So I guess the eye level is maybe somewhere around here, because this opens up that way, this opens up down this way. So I think, but mine is not like that. I'm seeing it right from below. And now I know where the center of that is by making an X. So, and I've already got the center line. The center line of the gable is the center line of my light fixture. So right there, that's where this little doohickey has to hang down. Next thing I have to find is an ellipse for this. So I'm just going to eyeball it, and I'm trying to make it as straight as I can, but you'll forgive me if it's not. So I'm working on the front of the box. Now I need my vanishing point to see where how that recedes, what that's going to look like when it recedes, and this way for it to recede. And I go across, trying to make things straight. And now I have a box I can use to make my ellipse, and you'll all recall how we do that. We did so much of that when we drew our geometric shape, so hopefully that has stayed with you. This line is like this, but you also need this. I'll be using this diagram a lot throughout this drawing because I need those arcs. Remember, my concept, my visual concept is that I want to add some soft touches to this very square and a little bit pointy room. So I'm going to move from my outer edge. This is what I really need. I need this curve. So I'm just going to put a vertical and double line that, so I have my curve. I'm looking for this, and it looks like it has some filigree of some kind or another all over it, so I can put a little bit of that decorative stuff. Now I have the center of the bottom and that little doodad, and all I have to do now is make a little bit of a curve down here because it's round. So I'm going to make a little curve and follow that curve all the way up to the side to make this round at the bottom. I can also curve this to give me a better feel for that. And when I ink this in, I'll enhance this by adding all of the lines that come down like this and curve in, all the lines of the lights, and these will curve that way at the back. So, but that's okay for now. Again, there's a little bit of a sense of doing it loosely enough that things could change. There's the hardware as it attaches to the ceiling. Put a little sprig there. And then I've got a sphere, an actual sphere that I can eyeball. This is small. Your drawings are larger, so you wouldn't maybe eyeball this. You might put the diagram up so you could see. And then just like down here, I'm seeing that this will overlap that. So the actual circumference of this sphere would go like that, this one at the top. So I'm putting this in this area here. And now it's just a matter of bringing this down and flaring it out to the outer edge. And I'm thinking about symmetry the whole time. If I put this straight line down, is it the same distance from here to here? And from here to here, is it the same distance? And these will all go this way. And I've got this line as a guide. And these will all come down like this with the straight line in the middle. And it's a good idea to take hidden lines that have no place in this light fixture, to take them out now so that you don't mistakenly put them in. So I'm going to take that gable out right now. You're constantly looking back and forth between your reference picture and what you've done with it. I have this high gable, so I can move this up a little higher. Again, now, there are parts of this I can't really see, so you'll forgive me, hopefully. And if you have your parallel rule and your set square that will help you to get things straight, by all means use it. There. And we've got quite a bit of molding. I won't put all of it in, I'll just put some. I'll just put a little bit of an idea about how much space it's going to take up. And then I have my arc, and my arc, it should come down to about there. So if I just rough it out before I make it more accurate, it's facing me, so it won't be difficult to make it more accurate. It's just that it's quite involved, so I want to get at least the outer curve correct before I go down a little further. What I'm trying to gauge is how deep a semicircle do I need up there. So I could try it this way. I could try going this way. Now, all I need is to know where this arc, where it should be on the other side, what height it should be on the other side at this point. And there's my mark. I can do that in several places to see where that should be. So I know I'm going to make an arc that just goes from here to here. And if you're really great at using the French curves, oops, I should have done this. If you're really great at using the French curves, then by all means use them. So this is where it should be, right across. Okay, so that's okay. So when I'm inking this in, I'll be really happy to find a French curve that can help me out. So I'm keeping an eye. See, this is what I was talking about in terms of keeping symmetry. You want to keep your symmetry. Always keep your watching for symmetry. That's what will throw your whole image off, is the lack of symmetry. Especially in one-point perspective, that's where we see it the most. So this is wider than the others, so we can go a little bit thinner here. Oops. Oops. And there's even more thickness, so we'll just add a little bit more thickness here. Now it brings my blinds down quite low if I want to hang them from here. But I don't think that's too big a problem. In fact, I could probably hang them right from there. And just leave this showing, this arc. And then when I put my draperies in, you see that you don't leave anything out in this drawing. You put everything in. I don't think I'll let that. I want to show my tassel. If you remember, I have my tassel, so I want to be able to show that. But on this drawing, everything goes in. And then you leave out what you don't want us to see when you ink in. I'd like to see a little bit of that. So I'm going to just, this is hung like this so that you can see the tassel. They're huge tassels. And again, you keep trying to, not to tickle things in place, but to actually make a definite line. That's a little risky to cover off where those two meet, but I'll try it. And if I don't like it, I can always change it when I'm inking in. So that'll do for now. And I have pinch pleats, so I have to show a little V. And this rounds out into folds. I don't have to put them all in, and in fact it would look dreadful if I did try to do that. So you just put in enough to show, and usually you start them down here and use kind of an implied line to allow them to move up to the top. So this will all be covered, but it was important that it be there, that it will look more convincing when I do the rest. I'm still deciding where to put the blinds, whether I want to, I think I might hang them lower. And as I mentioned, if you're doing this or something similar and you need to get rid of some of those lines, by all means get rid of them as you go so that they're not getting in your way of understanding what it is that you're doing. So maybe this side I don't cover that up. And I would go in and put all those in, but I won't do that now. Just so we have, and then we have where our blinds are going to end. We want to put some mullions in, so we want to just stop this blind and put some. That's why I'm hesitating about how how much room to leave up here because doesn't give me much room for the blinds, but we've got some lines already, so we can put those in. I decided here to start making the curve, so you make an X and find the center, and then I make a V. It's the V that's going to give me an oval rather than a circle. So a little bit different than our usual way of using this diagram, but it will give me an oval. There. And I look at my reference picture and see how much space do I have from here to here, and how much does that take up. And it actually sticks out past this more solid upholstered area, and keeping an eye on how much space I have down below for my foot. So that will be approximately here, and it's has lots of lovely little curves as well, and a little wheel. So I'll just do a gesture of it, and then when I ink it in, I can smooth out that whole look. When you do your inking in, you should be looking at your reference as well. Don't ever stop really looking at your references. I'm going to use the height of the back, this height back here, to give me the height of this. So I've got to use my vanishing point to bring that over. Oops. You've got to really slow down and keep your eye on what it is you're doing, because it can so easily go the wrong way. So I've got to go all the way back this time to the back wall, because this chaise is right against the wall. When it comes to figuring out the back, I took the height of the back, the very back, as you recall, the height of the back is up there. I brought that to the side because I need it to be that tall at the side this time. So I want also to see this. I want to see where that begins. So I've maybe made it a little closer to the center than it truly is, but I like where she's positioned, so I don't want to move her. So the back, I have to make a curve so that the back is curved. I'm going to start it here, but then I'm going to go back. Now this may take several tries until you get the right box to make the right curve for the back, because this is the back here, but I have to leave a thickness for the back. I'll do the same thing I did at the other end and try to get approximately the same size. I just have a feeling if I don't go a little bit into this space, it's not going to work. So I'll just go a little bit into there. And it's okay to sketch it and then use your ruler later, but I'm going to try to do this about the same size as the other one. So I'll make the X. And I've got now the center, same center as the other one. And I need a V. So to get an oval shaped arc, I need a V. So I go from the center and make a V, and then I divide it into 3 parts. For a circle, you need an X, but for an oval, you need a V. Okay, now if I have an oval back here that I can rely on to tell me what this roundness should look like for the back to wrap around, that's going to help a lot. So at the back here, because the back comes from here and here, that's the back, because I had to bring the back that was at the back against the wall to the side, because it's going to be at the side. So now I've got this at the back here, and I've got to wrap the back around this. So I have to make a curve that would contain the thickness of this, the thickness of the back. If I know where the middle is, there's the middle of the back. See how those squares help? There's the middle of the back. So I bring my arc, so I bring this out to here. Bring this around. So it's going to come out a little bit wider too, because the arm does. So now I've managed to make an arc for the back that touches the back and comes forward. So there's the center. So too big, a little smaller. This is a hidden line. It's underneath the arm, but it shows how deep the arm is on the other side of the sofa, on the other side of the chaise. So this I was wrong. This I've got better. And this is a tea cushion. So the cushion comes along, and then this arm comes inside it, so that this sticks out, you see. It makes a little bit of a T, the head of a T. And then I've got an arm that comes up. So it comes up. I'm going to take some of that curve away, so that stuff from behind away. And then it comes forward, and I'm using the sort of perspective lines that I can see. I'm going to take that arc away because it's not helping, it's making things difficult for me to see. So I've got my tea cushion. I've got this part of the arm that's sticking up. I've got this. If I use my vanishing point, I know that I'll see the inside of this. Then I'm going to go this way. It goes this way. And there's it rolls. So it has a thickness, it rolls. Then it breaks so that the arm can go the other way. And I've got this curve. I know how this is curving inside. So that's helping me to keep that in mind, that it's curving. And then right at the front of this, there's that. So this helped me to transition up to this. And it sticks out of the back. So now, again, drawing a lot from life, I have an idea of how this would look in my mind's eye. It doesn't look exactly like this one. It's a little bit different, in a little bit different spot. But I have an idea. So, even yet another more moving argument for drawing from life as much as you can. Just draw whatever's in front of you. Try to see and match the angles that you see. There's the back coming down. This is coming down. it'll go around. I'm also using other things. I had that curve there to try and help me, but other things I can use are how much space is here and here, how much space is here and here, relative to everything else. So I have to make sure I get those things pretty correct. So this takes a lot of time. This is not fast. This takes a while to get what you're trying to get. So give yourself a lot of time to do this, because there's a top plane on this. This actually sticks out quite a lot. So you see how much thinking you have to do, comparing and thinking you have to do to get something that's reasonably like what it is you're looking at. And you have to keep asking yourself, does it look like that? Does it have that same proportions? I was too big here, now I have to go up. Go a little bit like this. It's like an arm that kind of fits segment by segment into the rest. And I thought I was high enough, but I think this is really quite high. So the button goes in there. And of course, it's not meant to look like an insect like this. It's supposed to all, you know, seamlessly fit together. So I'll have to somehow get it to, but I'm comparing angles now. That angle looks like that angle. Then I've got my tea cushion. And have I got enough space here, or should this come in more acutely? I think I could go down a little lower on this. So I've got enough room here. And you're probably thinking like I'm thinking right now, my quick sketch was more convincing, but you'll remember your quick sketch had lots and lots of lines. This one we're trying to keep a minimum of lines so we get the best understanding of what we're seeing here. I think this should go a little higher. I can make the whole top of it a little fuller too. That might help. And then I've got this cushion that's fatly sitting here. So that covers some of my weak points. And my leg, so I've got this leg. Try to keep it symmetrical with the other one. Remember, your job here is to keep your eye on symmetry and getting the right angles. If something isn't, like soft furnishings, you really got to be careful like this to get them. And then the actual details are just smaller shapes. So this tufting, remember I wanted to see this. I don't know if that was the best idea, but I don't have to count how many of these there are. I just have to get them to resemble that. I like that cushion's a little fatter. So if you have to take your time and really examine curves, and if you've been working on it for a while and it's still not, you're not happy with it, leave it for a time and go to something else. So I have to get her in, so I might as well go in. And remember with her that you're just trying to we don't need to know who she is. We just need to know what she's doing and the sort of person that she represents. So every time you draw her, if you can simplify her some more, you do have to put, if they're sitting, you have to put inside lines because she'll look like a sausage. So you want to be careful. And so that when I outlined her in black. Now, if you had trouble drawing her in the first place and you would rather just outline her in black when the time comes, then don't outline her in pencil on this. But if you want to make some alterations to her, or leave, maybe she's wearing this jewelry and you'd rather she didn't have it on, then you could try it here in pencil first and see if that's truly was a good idea or whether you do need it. And this will help as well when we're looking at the chaise, whether it's believable or not, because having her sitting on it will help with that decision. Now, when you're dealing with ovals and ellipses, there's a certain amount of the boxes that we started out with that's going to be lost. So that means I get to see more of my draperies here. And more of the window frame. I should be doing that with the ruler. And more of what's behind it. More of this.